Hello and welcome to Kody and Korbin Have a Podcast, the show where two former roommates talk about underrated actors. As always, I'm your host, Korbin Zvokel, and joining me is my underrated co-host, Kody
Mm,
Webb. Kody, it's May 1st, the day this is released, that is, not the day we're recording, but it's May 1st. So do you know what that means?
I believe that means it's May Mania, baby.
Hell yeah. May Mania is back, year two. Very excited about it. If you weren't around last year, basically it's just more like specialty type episodes. We're going to do some drafts, some trivia, some recasts, some favorite lists like we're doing today. Maybe go deep into some people's ancestry, their history. Who knows? And of course, we are going to have lots of guests, schedules permitting. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to an exciting month of episodes.
100%. And yeah, I think our run through May last year was some of my favorite episodes of the year. But yeah, like you said, expect a lot of kind of maybe a little bit out there concepts that we've been wanting to do for a while. Gonna be doubling down on episodes and stuff too. But yeah, definitely gonna be a lot of fun. So if you do check us out for just 1 month this year, I would say this is the one to stick around for.
It's both our birth months as well.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
we do special stuff for that. I'll do a special ep for my birthday. I'm sure you can get something cooking for yours as well. So yeah, lots to do, lots to talk about. If you want to be a guest, hit us up. I mean, this is the time. It's May Mania. We want to have a lot of guests. So if you're interested, we're gonna make it happen. Connect.
True. Of course, yeah. Always reach out. And we say this 100 times, but yeah, if you want to be a guest, you'll be a guest. So hit us up if you want to be a part of the mania. But yeah, definitely do it.
Schedule's filling up. There's lots of good ones out there. So reach out soon. Also, just want to say, Spotify is huge for us right now. So if you're listening to this, we prefer you listen on Spotify, but you listen anywhere. But if you want to go over to Spotify, follow us on there. We're trying to get the followers up. Give us a like, a rating. But you can also rate us on Apple Podcasts, like us on YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube. There's a lot of ways you can support. But I think Spotify, we're going to push that for the month of May.
Well, it's basically just because they changed some of their sponsorship crap, blah blah blah.
Spotify bought the
Yeah,
anchor that we
Anchor.
sent our podcast, so we're bowing down to the
And
corporate.
basically like, oh, we could get kind of the sponsorship back a little bit through Spotify just because that whole Anchor thing. So yeah, if you are checking us out like through YouTube and stuff, definitely go through Spotify as well and just go through there to help us out too. But yeah, appreciate it all around.
Yeah, maybe we'll. Our boys at the Rough Cut Retrospective, they set a goal of 100 Spotify followers, and they do a watch along pod. So,
I did see
maybe
that.
we could throw out that gauntlet as well. Get to 100, we'll do a watch along in
I
person,
like that.
even maybe. Who knows?
Ooh, wow, I like that a lot.
But yeah, definitely go do that. Hit us up if you want to be a guest. Let's get into the episode and let's talk about underrated actors. I mean, Kody, do you know any underrated actors?
Love that transition. I do actually, yeah, off the top of the episode, I actually did want to kind of, take a step back from the episode and give a shout out to my cousin, Jersey, who is a consistent listener to the podcast as well. So if you are listening, Jersey, big time shout out. This is basically one of my recommendations, my biggest recommendation, but wanted to do it off the top of the show here. She was actually in a production called Alibis over the weekend, which I was definitely lucky enough to go visit down and see her in the main role of Casey Neptune. And it was actually a lot of fun. It was kind of like her role was pretty much the main one, like I said, but it was kind of like a Sherlock Holmes take. But there's a lot of like comedic spin in it. And in the production as well, there's tons of movie references. There's like a Matrix reference. There was a Battlefield Earth reference. Wizard of Oz was a main reference as well. So a lot of fun movie stuff. Citizen Kane as well. There was like a sled reference. A lot of fun movie stuff that I was kind of being like, oh, I get that. I get that. So shout out to Jers. She also had like a ridiculous amount of lines. I think it was like 150 plus that she memorized it all, which I was like, I don't think I could do even like 10 lines. So shout out in that standard as well. But yeah, underrated actress. Watch out for Jersey Streeter on the up and coming lists. Yeah, just wanted to give her a shout off at the beginning here.
Yeah, that's awesome. Kody, in high school, I was in a play called
Mhm.
like Alibis. I
Really?
don't think it's the same thing. I was like looking it up where I was like, I played the lead detective. So, shout out
Oh,
to things called Alibis.
that's good. What a small world we live in. Yeah, maybe you guys had some overlapping lines that you'd be able to connect on, but that
Hey,
is
hell of a detective. That year,
oh,
my 1 year of high school drama where I was in a detective mystery as the detective in the fall. And in the
mm,
spring, we did Great Gatsby and I played
mm.
Tom.
Nice. Yeah, you fit that role well, I think.
Yeah, definitely the highlight of my acting career right there. But let's talk about some real actors. Let's get into past. I mean, Jersey, shout out, real actor there,
Of
but
course,
me,
yeah.
not at all. Let's talk about some other underrated actors. Some of our favorites. So first of all, like, I mean, in compiling this list, top 5 underrated actors, what did underrated mean to you? Kind of how did you what was your temperature gauge on this list?
Yeah, it's tough to define, obviously, because I feel like in our lists here, you could put pretty much anybody and be hard to argue. I left off my obvious ones, a la, the Hugh Jackmans, the Amy Adams, the people we talked about in our top 5 working actors and actresses, just because I think they have that due respect. They've been around the industry for forever. For me, for underrated, I don't know, you can really define it as anything you want. I kind of went as they've done some stuff here and there, and everything that they've done I have enjoyed pretty much, but maybe they haven't been given the big opportunities to be the starring person or, be given the massive franchise. So I kind of looked at it in that angle of they are definitely working, and I do like pretty much everything that they're in, but they really just haven't been given like that massive chance yet.
Yeah, I like that definition. And I think a couple of mine fit into that. But then there's also like this idea of just up and coming actors, like people, there's young people that maybe just haven't quite hit it big, that have been in a couple small things, and that can be underrated. Or you can have, like you said, you're supporting your character actors. Some of those people who just by the nature of the work they do will never be a lead in anything, but they're still extremely good at what they do. And then there's also people, like you said, who maybe should be leads and haven't had that chance to be starring in something great. Also, like people can be underrated to different subsets and like different fandoms. So like
Yeah.
we're probably going to say someone's underrated, and then someone's be like, well, I love this TV show that ran for 7 seasons and they're great in that, so how are they under, like everyone knows. But it's all about the things you're interested in. These are just the people that we see as underrated, and of course that's not a knock either. We do like these people, but
Yeah.
underrated we don't mean as an insult either.
No, I think underrated is 100% a positive thing. And of course, these lists are subjective. I'm sure my list and your list are going to be very different here. But yeah, it's all kind of just, I feel like it's your perception of where they are at in Hollywood in a sense. Because if we pick these people and, oh, they're in every single movie in Hollywood and they're leading men, they still could be underrated to us. But in a sense, like it really is subjective, I think. But I'm,
Yeah,
I'm interested in your list a lot, honestly. I think my list has a lot of great people, but I think you might have some deeper cuts than me, honestly. But yeah, it should be fun to go through this.
I don't know. I really struggled making the list. I mentioned it to you before the podcast. I have a big honorable mention list.
Mhm.
We'll provide reasons for each person, so we'll get into that as we go. I did want to say I went for specific. I didn't want to have a single Oscar winner. To me, if you've won an Oscar, I was having this conversation with Mina last night. It's like, can you be underrated? Like Nick Cage, maybe like 5, 6 years ago would be underrated, but he was an Oscar. Like I don't know. For me, no Oscar winners. I
Mhm.
think there's some people that are Oscar nominated potentially. Maybe not. Maybe one. For we'll get into it. You want to get started?
Yeah, I'll definitely kick us off. I don't think any of mine are Oscar nommed. I think that's definitely a good thing to base it off of. Did Nick Cage win an Oscar for like adaptation or something? Am I missing that?
Well, he was nominated for adaptation, I believe, but he won for Leaving Las Vegas, I want to say.
Ooh, okay. I didn't know that. We were talking a lot of Nick Cage last week, and I didn't know he was an Oscar winner. So shout out
Yeah.
Nick.
Leaving Las
Well,
Vegas, 1995.
wow, crazy. Did not know that. But cool. Yeah, I'll kick us off though. My number 5 underrated actress, and this is, like I was saying at the beginning, I tried to leave out a lot of my personal picks. This is maybe one where I let it slide in a little bit, but I'm picking Diane Kruger.
Oh, okay.
Of course, from National Treasure fame. So I love her most. But I think she actually is in some decent stuff. Not a ton recently, honestly. I feel like kind of the mid 2000s, end of 2010s was kind of her cutoff point for being in a lot. Of course,
You
the
didn't you
thing
didn't check out Marlowe, the Liam Neeson picture that was pulling up in theaters early this year,
I
January.
saw that, yeah, I saw that she was in that. I haven't checked it out yet, so maybe that's a masterpiece, but maybe I missed that one.
Since I have AMC A list, like sometimes I'll just get tickets to a movie and then like it'll be an hour before and I'll be like, I don't really feel like it. I slept in, or maybe it doesn't work for my schedule. I think I bought tickets to see Marlowe at one point because it was like on the docket for a day and I
Mhm.
decided to not do it. But
Uh,
I got the refund on the money I didn't pay. But yeah, shout out
so
Marlowe.
all that matters, you got the refund, but yeah, I guess really not a big Diane Kruger stan. So disappointed there. Of course, she's in National Treasure 1 and 2, which are masterpieces beyond that. her IMDb is kind of slim after that. You can look at Troy, you can look at some other things, but the other massive thing she's in, and obviously too, is Inglorious Bastards. But she's in a small part of the film, obviously near the end with the Fassbender and the whole finger thing, which is really really fun. But yeah, I think in that movie as well, she doesn't really have a standout sort of scenes other than that. And that's kind of the issue with her in general. I feel like she is put pretty much just in supporting roles. So I'd like to see her going more into the forefront. Obviously, National Treasure is kind of a joke of a film franchise, but I think she's still good in that. Like, obviously, you mentioned working alongside Oscar winner Nicolas Cage. I'm sure she picked up a lot of stuff from him. So, yeah, I think underrated wise, especially in the past 10 years, nobody's really talking about Diane Kruger anymore, which is a shame.
When you search Diane Kruger Inglorious Bastards, all the headlines are Diane Kruger reveals Tarantino didn't want her, which is a tough look for sure.
Even Quentin doesn't want her. So sad.
She actually made her German language film debut in 2017, which is interesting. But she did win the Cannes Best Actress Award in 2017. So a little bit of praise there. But yeah, I agree. She's definitely a person I would consider underrated. What would you want to see her do?
And yeah, talking about Tarantino, I was thinking, hey, throw her in the last Tarantino film. If Quentin wasn't a massive fan, which is news to me, that's a shame. But just give her a small role because I think she's really good in Glorious Bastards. But past that, of course,
you don't want her to play the film critic, the titular role of his alleged next film.
I think she'd be really good in that, actually. I mean, you could pick up any pretty much Tarantino actor. I feel like to do that, but no, Diane Kruger was a really, really fun choice, I think, for that. But past that, I kind of want to see National Treasure 3. That's the main reason she is on this list, if I'm being honest. Bring back the whole squad, bring back Nick Cage, bring back Riley, whatever his name is, Justin something, I think. But let them
team up. So this is set prior to the events of the television series in which Nick Cage is dead, or do we resurrect
the television series? I am gonna say is not canon. So Disney, yeah, I don't know what you're doing, but clearly you didn't know.
It was canceled.
Thankfully, even though I didn't see it. But yeah, bring them all back for one last romp. I'm thinking, I think I pitched this before, but I think I'm gonna send them to the lost city of Atlantis or something underwater. I think for this crew would be really the best way to go. But yeah, I kind of just want to see National Treasure 3, so I'm gonna pitch that for her.
Maybe James Wan can direct, or James Cameron, our water boys. Who's it gonna be?
I don't know if Jimmy Cameron would take that project on, but I'd take either.
He's a big franchise IP filmmaker, Kody. He loves making sequels.
If he hears it's underwater, he's basically going to be signed up for it automatically, I think. So
halfway there, but he'll go find the real Atlantis. That'll be the catch. It'll be incredible. Is Diane Kruger ever going to win an Oscar, Kody?
I would say likely not with her current agent, and I think she would be a contender as well for someone who needs a new agent, which is obviously an episode we've done in the past. If you haven't seen that, go check that one out.
There's definitely some overlap here with that idea.
Yeah, but I think she has the ability to win an Oscar. I think, unfortunately, at this time in her career, it seems very unlikely. But that's kind of what it seems like for half the people who end up kind of going into an unusual role and kind of killing it. So I could see it down the line, but I would be, fairly surprised if it happened.
I don't know. She actually is one that I could see, popping up in a movie 5-10 years from now that just gets a lot of praise because it's like you said, she's been around for a while and this would be her chance. Maybe an Oscar nom. I definitely see she gets an Oscar nom at some point.
Yeah, she's got the chops. I think it's just finding the right role for kind of that nom. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's kick it over to my number 5, and it's Domhnall Gleeson. Kody, how's that feel for you?
Yeah, he's a contender on my list for sure.
Nice. Yeah. So I'll start the same. Maybe my favorite Irish actor. I'd have to maybe put together a list, but he's definitely up there. Obviously, he is a bit of a nepotism baby, which, maybe that's a spoiler for future conversations, but, the son of Brendan Gleeson. But I just think he's great in everything that he does. He's been in a good mix of projects. I think some of his projects are probably the most impressive part. Some interesting mainstream IP. He has a very small role in the Harry Potter franchise. But then also, of course, he plays, General Hux in the Star Wars newest trilogy, which he has a decent little arc in. It's okay. Those movies are those movies, right? But he started out in some interesting indie projects. He's done some serious romance drama stuff. Ex Machina and About Time are the probably the two movies that are like two of my personal favorites that really pushed him onto this list. He can do funny stuff, but he can also do the strong emotion stuff. He has gotten a Tony nom in 2006,
Ooh.
so that's like a little bit of that, and he's been in a bunch of movies that have been nominated for Oscars. So like Ex Machina was nominated for an Oscar, Brooklyn, The Revenant, those are all nominated for Oscars. Yeah, he's been in some HBO stuff most recently. That's the thing where a lot of actors are going into like TV now. So he was in an HBO series in like 2020, and then recently he was on a Hulu series with Steve Carell, The Patient, where he plays a serial killer who's trapped Steve Carell as a who is his therapist.
Oh yeah, I think I did see the trailer for that. Actually, it didn't look bad, to be fair.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I haven't checked it out, but I mean, it would be attractive because of he's in it.
yeah, it's kind of like Misery in the modern world, which I like. But yeah, Donald Gleason, I think, is a great choice. Like you mentioned, I mean, General Hux, it is what it is, but the two main pictures that I love him in, pretty much the same as you, Ex Machina and About Time. Ex Machina is heck of a film. I really like that. I feel like Oscar Isaac maybe does outshine him a little bit, but he's mad underrated, I would say. So he fits that category.
All three of the lead cast
Yeah,
in that, Alicia Vikander, Oscar
can't
Isaac. Yeah, they're all great.
should be Oscar noms around, but I don't think any of them really got recognized, which is unfortunate. And then About Time, I mean, his chemistry with Rachel McAdams, I think, is severely not talked about as well. So I'd love to see him kind of go more rom-com, go maybe a little bit more darker stuff like Ex Machina. I think he can kind of do it all in a sense. But yeah, what were you thinking? Kind of what do you think his next project should be?
Dark is exactly where I wanted to go. So obviously
Okay.
he's doing the serial killer thing now with the patient, but I think put him in a horror movie. Like I want to see this guy like a struggling. I don't know what it is. Maybe like some sort of Stephen King adaptation or something like that. Mike Flanagan, get that guy directing a movie again. Come on, he's stay away from the TV, dude. Get Doctor Sleep was decent, I hear. And then or David Fincher, put him as a detective in a Fincher movie or something. I think he can play that well as well.
Yeah, I'm surprised he hasn't been working with like more, highly talked about directors. So I feel like he really is like a really good character actor as well. So I'd love to see him kind of fit in some of those roles. But yeah, him and the Finchman, I think would be a really good pairing. I do like that a lot.
Yeah, and I mean another team up with Alex Garland. Obviously, like I don't know, Men was a mixed movie. We'll see what his next film, Civil War, is going to be like. But I think Donald Gleason going back with Alex Garland, that connection from Ex Machina would be good as well.
Yeah, agreed. Do you think Domino will ever win an Oscar, Corbin?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Really?
I don't know. I don't know if the role is going to be right for him there. I could see a nom. There's a lot of he feels like a nom person, but I don't know. None of his none of his performances, despite being an Oscar like nominated films and in some cases winning films, they're usually in supporting roles. So I feel like he's good in leads, but they're not the Oscar nominated movies. And then when he's supporting, he's just not going to stand out, I think.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think he 100% could.
Oh yeah, I'd love to see it, but
It just comes down to the roles, I think, for him. I think as the years go on here and he gets a little older, he will start doing like more and more leading stuff. Because I think he's a really good actor. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Give this guy 5, 10 years. He's got a couple of Oscars on his bookcase. So yeah, we'll see.
his dad just got one this year, and he's how old? So think, I mean, there's
True.
plenty of time, plenty of acting to do.
Nepo babies. He's gonna be around forever too. Yeah.
Shout out to Gleasons. Let's kick it over to your.
Isn't Colin Farrell an Irish actor?
Yeah,
You
he
like
is. He
you're
was
gonna
on
take the
my.
Gleasons over him?
He's on my honorable mention list. I'll say that, but it's hard to say he's underrated. That's for sure.
There.
Cody, who's your number four?
All right, I'll kick it back to me. My number four is gonna be Tony Revolori. Uh,
Oh,
I'm guessing was not even near your list, but
no, he's not.
I think he is crazy underrated. He's been in a decent amount of stuff. Obviously, my favorite thing from him is pretty much the Grand Budapest Hotel, which, I mean, in a sense, he is one of the main leads as the bad guy,
As much
whatever.
as you can be in a
Wes Anderson
Wes
flick, yeah.
Anderson film, and obviously
Obviously,
there's like the time stuff as well.
yeah, massive cast, and yeah, there's a guy playing an older version of his character, whatever. But I think his relationship both with Ray Fiennes' character and Saoirse Ronan's character, it's kind of the linchpin in the movie in its sense. He has a lot of the emotional weight kind of going on in that film, which I was not expecting for Tony Revolori role. Past that, another really great movie I like that he's in is Dope. Obviously not leading that, one of the sidekick best friends, but I think that's a really fun movie that people don't really talk about anymore from the 2010s. Mad underrated in itself. And of course, he's Flash Thompson in the MCU. Doesn't really have too much to do there over. Is he even in the third movie? I don't know, and I don't care. But the first movie, he's fun, kind of like the dickhead bully, the modern bully, I guess, in a sense, to Peter Parker, but kind of just not given a ton to do in any of that stuff. Yeah, Tony Revolori, I think he's this is like my up and coming guy on this list. Out of like the underrated sort of saying we're going through here, this is the one who probably has the most to prove, I would say. But kind of like I was saying, everything that he's been in, I've liked him, and I think there's a big thing that comes for Tony. So, Mr. Revolori, if you're listening, this maybe be the one person who we could get on the pod. Honestly, 'cause I know he does a lot of stuff, kind of just like podcasts and internet in general. So maybe if I slide in his DMs on like Dave Batista, he'd actually respond. But yeah, what do you think about Tony?
May Mania, dude. Yeah, no, I think he definitely. I don't know if I've ever seen him. I guess outside of Grand Budapest as the lead in a movie. So
Mhm.
there's definitely that. I will say he's great and dope. And in that movie, he's actually Spider-Man's best friend because, of course, the lead, Shamik Moore, is the voice of Miles
Yeah.
Morales. So he's actually Spider-Man's best friend in that movie, unlike in the MCU trilogy where he just tries to be Spider-Man's best friend. And Kody, I don't know if you know this, he appears in Scream 6,
Yeah.
your movie. You haven't seen that yet, have you?
No, I have not seen it, but I did see that was on his IMDb. I assume it's a pretty small role, right?
Yeah, he's in the opening. So you can
Nice.
imagine what
Okay.
happens
Spoiler
as all
alert.
Scream movies go.
Sounds like he's there at the end too. So yeah, good to see Tony make it through the movie. Yeah, that's definitely Wes. He's also in the Asteroid City, Wes Anderson flick, which is upcoming this year too, which is another movie that I drafted. So hopefully he makes it through that one at least. But yeah, going forward of what I would want to see him in more. Obviously, I think he's going to be Wes Anderson mainstay. He was also in what was the the French
French
Dispatch. I think he
Dispatch,
has
yeah.
a small role in that too. So I think he's going to be in Wes Anderson movies kind of going forward. I'd love him to snag another role like Zero in Grand Budapest, kind of one of the main characters. I think him and Wes work really well together. Past that, just like as he gets older, I think he's going to go more towards the dramatic roles. Right now, he's kind of in between, like, oh, should he stay in a blockbuster franchise, that kind of stuff. I think he's going to see like the MCU. It is what it is, but I think he is like a legitimate actor and wants to make actual stuff. So I think like biopics, sort of dramatic roles like that, I think he could be an easy candidate for like best supporting actor roles down the line here. And yeah, I mean, this is a young buck just ready to be awakened through Hollywood. So I'd love to see him in tons more stuff as we move along the years here.
Yeah, I mean, he's 26. He's been in a lot of great stuff. I mean, the fact that he's attached himself to Wes Anderson at this point, like Wes Anderson is going to be making movies for how many years? Like he's got this. Yeah, he's going to be around, I imagine.
Yeah.
So I think the MCU stuff is done. Do you think we'll ever see him in anything again?
I don't think so, unless they like really kind of change the Venom character because they could throw him in as sort of this
That could be
agent
good.
Venom, which would be cool. But obviously with Sony, like that'll probably never happen. And it would probably need to happen within like next like 5 years or something to kind of lock him down too. Which
That's the thing. It's like, how old are you going to have him be? Like,
yeah,
what's the time frame? I mean, who knows what the MCU is doing? They're reeling right now.
yeah, I think he should get out of the MCU. But I'm gonna make a bold prediction. I think he will win an Oscar in the next 10 years. Tony
And
Revolori, book it. I think he's upcoming immediately. And I think he's got a good agent. Just from like everything he's been in so far, pretty much nothing has been like bad, I don't think. So yeah, I think he's gonna be making moves and I think he's got an Oscar upcoming. So
supporting or lead? What do you think?
I'd say supporting. I'd be surprised if it's lead, but yeah, I think he's gonna kind of build himself up a little bit into more supporting roles, and then maybe down the line he can be a massive leading man, which I'd like to see. But yeah, I'd say supporting is definitely a good bet.
I would back that as well. All right, Cody. My number 4
Yeah,
is Greta Gerwig as an actress. Cody,
really? Wow.
this is obviously as a director and really just as a famous person. She's not an underrated. People recognize her talent. She's a great screenwriter as well as a director, but as an actress, she is underrated, I would say. I wouldn't say that there's necessarily a ton of range across all the characters she plays, but she fits into a couple lanes really well. She plays, especially in her earlier years, like the early 2010s, where she was really working in movies. She plays like young, dumb, broke, and like fucked up, like a fuck up basically, but also like incredibly magnetic and interesting and like still like a character you want to root for despite having these like fuck ups and insecurities about their future and what they want to do. Thinking of like performances in Frances Ha, which is a movie that I love. 2010's Bombach's early in their relationship, Bombach staff. Yeah, I just think she's really great as an actress. She's obviously in White Noise this year. I'm curious to see if she'll continue to act. I don't know.
Yeah, interesting pick because obviously, I feel like when you think of Greta Gerwig, you're gonna think of director first. But I like throwing her in here in the actresses. I don't know. I think she may be a little bit unproven. Do you know how much stuff she's really been in as an actress? Obviously, Frances Ha and like you mentioned, White Noise. How far back does she go acting wise though?
Well, she was like doing some like co-directing and writing stuff in like the mid 2000s of like really small indie projects, stuff like LOL, Hannah Takes the Stairs, Baghead, Nights and Weekends, like all this stuff. And then like her most notable roles would be like 20th Century Woman, where she's like second. Frances Ha, of course, she's been in White Noise, like I said. And then
Isle of Dogs.
Isle of Dogs, she does a voice role. And then I was watching this movie. I started it last night called Greenberg, where she's second build behind Ben Stiller, and it's a Baumbach movie, and it's like a Jennifer Jason Lee Noah Baumbach story.
Nice.
She's doing a very similar thing to what she always does, but no, yeah, she's great.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Greta, and I didn't even think about her kind of considered for this list just because I think you have director kind of first in line with her. But yeah, I love Isle of Dogs. That's kind of like the big thing for. I would probably be the biggest fan of her acting wise in that. I haven't seen White Noise, unfortunately, but yeah, definitely an interesting pick. What do you think she should do next? Because I feel like this is like an early career pick as well, so she could go a lot of different directions.
I mean, yeah, it's hard to say. Obviously, like when you're a person who becomes a director, I feel like it's hard to then go back and be like, go work for other directors. And she has such a close creative partnership with her husband Noah Baumbach. They've written in like they both co-wrote Barbie together, and obviously she's the director, and they've worked on different screenplays together. So like I don't know. I feel like she's probably most likely to continue to like write and star in his stuff or her stuff. Like you said, White Noise was his direction and her starring in that. So I think that's probably what's most likely to happen. I would love to see maybe, Ben Stiller, he's been directing a lot lately. There's a connection there. He's been in a few Baumbach things. Maybe he could, direct her in something. That'd be pretty interesting.
Yeah, I'd like to see that 100%. I think that'd be a really fun pairing. Ben Stiller at the helm. Yeah, I'm kind of down to just throw her in anything at this point too, and kind of maybe leave Baumbach behind. Be like, hey, you do your thing, I'll do mine. But yeah, I think she is a good actress, so I don't hate the pick. Do you see an Oscar down the line for her, or what do you think there?
Directing wise, yes, hopefully. I
Yeah,
think so. I don't realistically know if she's gonna win one acting wise. Because realistic, I don't know how much acting she's gonna do.
yeah.
But no, I think direction she's got a shot.
She was nominated for Lady Bird, right?
Yeah, she was nominated.
Okay, well deserved, I would say
Lost
there.
lost to Jordan Peele, so that's a tough year.
Yeah,
I
I think she was probably in the
deservedly lost, but
top
yeah.
three that year too. So I'd say she's got her shot coming at the Oscars pretty soon. But yeah, good pick.
Will it happen for Barbie, Kody?
I don't think so. I'll tell you what, Barbie worries me, man. I think it will make money, but I don't know. It looks really, really, really weird. Which should be right up my alley.
The thing
But
is, I don't think they're giving
no.
anything away. Like, I think they're trying to like do a bait and switch thing where it's like we're gonna market this, but not really tell you. Like, they haven't really shown anything.
Yeah, I mean, true. I don't know. The dialogue just looks really strange to me, and I don't know what it's about. Like, obviously, it's about Barbie, but I don't know. It's gonna be a weird one, I think, and maybe one of her wackiest scripts. But I mean, the cast is amazing, so I'll go see it. But it definitely worries me.
Kody, what do you think? Double feature Barbie Oppenheimer, then double feature podcast, same
Oh,
day.
I like that. And you have to go see it in the same day as well. A four
Yeah.
hour Oppenheimer and then 3 hour Barbie. Just absolute heck of a day in the theater. But I think that'd be a really fun pod. So yeah, I don't hate it.
We'll clock it in. Cody, who's your number three?
My number three, funny enough, was also in Isle of the Dogs, which is why I brought it up because I was looking at that cast list today. It's Tilda Swinton. I
Hmm.
think Tilda Swinton is mad underrated. I've never really seen her be bad in anything. However, again, this is another agent problem. I think our agent needs to step it up. I think Tilda Swinton should have been leading like a main leading actress for a long time now, and she definitely has done some leading stuff. For me, probably her favorite performance is Snowpiercer, which obviously she's not the lead role, but she really just kind of captured the perfect, I think, like voice texture, if that makes sense. Really did a great job kind of capturing that character in that movie. Yeah, Snowpiercer, Bong Joon-ho production. If you haven't seen that, check that out 100%. Past that, of course, she's the ancient one in the MCU. Whatever, she's in one movie, but she's pretty good in that too. And then voice work, she's been good as well. Isle of the Dogs, I mentioned. Also in Guillermo's Pinocchio, which she's actually like the spirit god that Pinocchio goes and talks to when he dies and stuff, which I didn't even realize that. But like I said, I think everything that she's been in, she's actually pretty good. Obviously, I think it was either this year or this past year. She was in that weird movie with the Idris Elba.
3,000 Years of Longing. Yeah.
Didn't see that, but I don't think that was the best. But give me more weird stuff like that. I think Tilda kind of does shine the brightest in kind of strange scripts like that. So I don't hate that going forward. But maybe that wasn't the best script. She could have picked something better. But again, kind of that's her agent problem, not her. But yeah, everything she's good in, I like. So I think she had to make this list.
Shout out to her role in Michael Clayton, for which she did win an Oscar, Cody. So there
Yeah,
we go.
yeah,
But no, she's great in a lot of different stuff. She really transforms into a lot of different roles. Like you said, Snowpiercer is a great example of that, where she plays weird really well, and but she is like a classically trained actor. Was Royal Shakespeare Company in the '90s, you know. No, yeah, she's great.
yeah. And for me, I think underrated in this sense, like you said, she didn't win an Oscar, so it's hard to put her on this list. But I think she should be like one of the leading actresses working today. I think she is that ridiculously good, and she's kind of just been subjected to like, oh, a really good character actress, which I think Tilda Swinton is a
I don't know.
lot.
I think that's choice though to a certain degree. I think she chooses her projects and what. I mean, yes, she's in the MCU in a weird role, but I think
Yeah,
she's particular about what she wants to do.
100%, which I think is, and that's where I'm saying like her agent needs to step it up because even the stuff that she does pick isn't the best sometimes. But yeah, give me more leading Tilda. I think we deserve it.
She gonna win an Oscar, Cody?
Obviously, she already has. I think down the
Another
road,
one.
I think she 100% can. And I'd like to see a leading actress Oscar from her, which is kind of what I've been harping on as well. And of course, I think out of pretty much everyone on my list and possibly even yours, she does have maybe the highest chance to win another Oscar. For me, she is really one of the better working actresses today. And like I said, just needs to be given the right opportunity. Yeah, I mean, this for me is maybe she's not crazy underrated in Hollywood sense, but I think in the general public sense, I think we need to be talking about Tilda Swinton a little bit more.
When it comes to like art house and international cinema, I think she holds like a really specific place. But I would say to the average American like audience, Tilda Swinton is not like a household name or like you would recognize her from stuff. But yeah,
Agreed.
I think she can be all underrated still, Cody. I think it's
I agree.
acceptable.
Thank you. I also think that I think a fun genre that maybe we haven't seen her in too much that I would pitch, maybe put her in a rom-com. I think that'd be really fun for Tilda. And that's kind of similar to maybe where the Thousand Years of Longing was going, but I think it went a little bit too sci-fi, which I don't hate. Obviously, that's a fun kind of genre pairing, but give me just a straight up like dramatic rom-com with Tilda Swinton, and I think that'd be a lot of fun. But yeah, that's what I wanted to pitch for her.
Nice. I like it.
Who's your number three, Corbin?
Well, funny enough, it's Snowpiercer co-star of Tilda Swinton, Song Kang
Chris Evans?
Ho.
Oh, nice. That's a great pick, actually.
Yeah, so obviously, like he's probably the person who is like the least underrated, but he's an international pick, so it comes in with like again the same thing where like the average American audience probably don't know about this guy and aren't realizing all the great work he's doing in Korean films, particularly with Bong Joon-ho. I think Parasite was obviously a huge breakthrough moment in 2019, early 2020. So like a lot more people found out about him, but like he's been consistently great in movies. I think what I like about him is like there's such a reserved mysteriousness to all of his performances. He plays like silence super well. Think about like him as the driver in Parasite, like playing that, or as the fake driver, where just like every moment, just like the looks on his face convey so much. And also in Snowpiercer, where he just like isn't really there, like isn't really talking a ton, where it's just like everything he has is so powerful. He also plays into like a father figure type role in movies like Host, or even like Snowpiercer again. Sometimes it's like the shitty fucked up father. Also he's in Broker, which was a movie that was released last year from that was, he got best actor for at Cannes. But yeah, I think he's great.
I think this is a great pick for this, and I think it's kind of a similar spot to Tilda Swinton too, where it's like they are respected in the industry, but overall, probably people don't know them too much, and this is a great pick for that. I think The Host as well is kind of a criminally underrated film. I think there are some issues with it, but he is amazing in it. And of course, his role in Snowpiercer is a lot of fun. Was he now, or did he win Best Actor for Parasite? I believe he was nominated, right? For me, at least, that is probably his best role. Obviously, Parasite is a really, really good movie.
Yeah, so
But
that's the it did not, no acting nominations for Parasite. That's the
really,
thing. Because, and that's
wow,
why I'm unsure if he will ever win an Oscar, because
yeah,
while the Oscars continue to become more international, I think it's still really hard for people to like appreciate acting performances in a foreign language. And I think it'll be hard for a performance like that to really break through at the Oscars still, and which is dumb because I think he's fantastic and he really makes or breaks Parasite and The Host. And I haven't seen Memories of Murder. I've heard incredible things about it. I recently got this like Bong Joon Ho box set from Amazon that's like really nice, and it's got all of his movies. So I'm really
that's
looking
awesome.
forward to like checking them all out here in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, his partnership with Bong Joon-ho as well is something special, I think. It's one of those kind of like Scorsese Leo
Oh yeah,
relationships where
absolutely.
every single thing they do, like I 100% want to check out. But yeah, that's an abomination. I think that he was not at least nominated for Parasite. That makes no sense at all. But yeah, that kind of sucks. I feel like like he should have an Oscar for that in general. But I feel like if he's not going to get nominated for that, like what down the line is he going to? So yeah, kind of tough there.
I want to continue to obviously see him work with Bong Joon Ho. Also, another South Korean filmmaker, Park Chan Wook, who he has worked with once before in a movie in 2009, Thirst, which is like a vampire movie where he plays like a Catholic priest. And so that went to the top of my watch list as soon as I heard about that. That's very interesting. But in terms of like an American director, I think Jordan Peele would be a really interesting one. Put him in a Jordan Peele movie. I'd love to see that.
I'd love that. Yeah. Put this guy in anything, honestly, and I'm down. But no, Jordan Peele and him would be a really fun combo. So I love that a lot.
And then I actually need to see, is he in? I don't know if he's going to be in Mickey 7, which is unfortunate. The or Mickey 17, the upcoming like Bong Joon-ho, Robert Pattinson, Stephen Yun movie.
Yeah, I don't remember. I remember those
It
two
doesn't
guys.
look like he's on the cast list right now, which is
I feel like he
unfortunate.
has to be in the movie in some capacity, just
Get
because.
him a cameo at the very least. Come on.
Yeah. So hopefully he'll show up in the end credit scene. But no, yeah, he's got to be in there somewhere, I think.
For sure. Cody, who's your number two?
Number two, that's where the list gets interesting for me. My number two is going to be David Dastmalchian, if that's how you say his name. I'll tell you what, this
Maybe
guy,
Desmalkian. I'm not sure.
Dastmalchian, yeah, there's a CH in there at the end, so that sounds a little bit better. But he's in a crap. I'll just run through his IMDb off the top here.
Man is in every movie
Yeah,
possible.
pretty much. And it's always the smallest role possible as well. But of course, he's in the Dark Knight as the guy, who has like info
Pretends to
that
be the
people,
Joker or whatever. Yeah.
yeah, and they're like interrogating him, or whatever. He's in Dune very briefly. He's in Blade Runner 2049 very briefly. He's in Prisoners even more briefly. And then more of his actual stuff. The Suicide Squad he's in as, of course, the Polka Dot Man, whatever his character's name is. A lot of fun there. And then, of course, he's in the three Ant-Man movies too, on very different varying roles there. The first two sort of similar than the third one. I don't even know what's going on, which is the entire movie. But yeah, his IMDb, I feel like is just ridiculous in general. But obviously, he's not anywhere close to, well, definitely not a leading man. He's like kind of close to a supporting man, even though half of these roles he's in the movie for like 5 minutes. But his inclusion in this list for me is like, just give this guy more stuff to do because he's memorable in most of these movies. but he doesn't really have the chance to do more, which I think is very shameful.
He's always like the creepy guy, but not the like he does the prisoners thing, I think is like very indicative of his entire career.
Yeah.
Where it's like if he's gonna be the weirdo, he's gonna be the weirdo, but he's not gonna be the main weirdo. Or he's gonna be like this, like in Dune, he's not the main weirdo, but he's like one of the weirdos, it's that
Yeah.
kind of stuff a lot.
Let's just say like the Dark Knight, Dune, Prisoners, and Blade Runner 25. He's like a similar S character of like nobody really likes this guy, kind of a weirdo in that sense. But he's not like the main antagonist or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I think that's a fun kind of niche role for him. But I'm saying bring him more into the spotlight. My ideas for him moving forward, obviously just give him a chance. But I think I maybe want to see him go behind the camera a little bit more, maybe get him into producing and possibly even directing. Just because I think he is a little bit respected in the industry, but maybe he's not the best actor in some people's minds. But since he does have that respect, maybe give him a chance behind the screen, as he has been in a lot of great projects. Like everything we just mentioned, I think is a really, really good movie. So he kind of has a good eye for maybe what to
He's
go.
worked with a lot of great directors too. So I mean, he
Yeah.
has seen that process. I don't know if it's something he wants to do, but
Yeah, I'm sure he's picked up on a lot of stuff. My ideas, obviously, he's been in a lot of DC and just comic book stuff in general too. I say throw him into the new DC universe. Obviously, they're doing a lot of wild, wacky stuff with there. Kind of let him go under James Gunn's wing, maybe for a film, and give him a chance directing. But yeah, I'd pretty much love to see him in anything. But I just don't know if he has the actual respect to go into kind of the more leading roles because he has been around in Hollywood for a long time. And obviously, like, I don't know, in the Suicide Squad and the new Ant-Man movie, like he has more prominent roles than he normally would. So that's definitely a positive, I think, upswing just looking at his career overall. I don't know. Do you think he's actually gonna get more like legitimate supporting roles at this point in his career?
I think he's gonna be the like continue to just be the small character actor that just pops up in like literally
Yeah.
something. I mean, and I think he must enjoy like he's gonna be in 6 movies released in 2023. 3 have already come out: Ant
Yeah.
Man, Late Night with the Devil, and then Boston Strangler, which I haven't seen. But again, he might be the not main weirdo. Maybe he's the main weirdo. It's hard to say. He's also gonna be in The Boogeyman, which is a Stephen King adaptation. I don't know how big the role is for that. He's in
Mm,
Oppenheimer. There's a million people in that. I'm
of
sure it's
course.
not a
Yeah.
huge role. Another Christopher Nolan work, and then he's in this The Last Voyage of the Demeter movie, which like has
Mm,
a cast of people that I really don't know very well, but it's based on like one chapter from Bram Stoker's Dracula. So just like
mm,
one singular chapter, the
interesting.
captain's log is what it's an adaptation of. It does have Corey Hawkins in the lead role.
I like him in Straight Outta Compton. But yeah, I kind of
Walking
agree.
Dead as well. That's his big role.
Oh, right, right, yeah. True, true. But
He's
yeah, I think
Dre in Straight Outta Compton. Interesting. I've never seen that.
oh, you would see, oh yeah, Straight Outta Compton, he's getting that. Really good cast in Straight Outta Compton, obviously. But yeah, David Dastmalchian, I kind of agree with you. I don't think an Oscar is down the line for him. I'd be utterly surprised, probably out of everybody on this list. But I think he's just very underrated in the sense of like people probably don't even know who he is. And every time he pops up in something, I think he's really fun and really, really good. So I wanted to include that on this list. I almost put him at one. I'm not gonna lie, just because I do think he is like incredibly underrated. Yeah, kind of just like a fun personal pick for me there too.
I like that pick a lot. That's great.
Let's swing it over to you. Who's your number two?
All right, my number two. This is really my like up and comer pick, I guess I want to say, and I have talked about her in the past. I think particularly on our best of 2022, where I shouted out her performance in Bones and All. My pick here at number two is Taylor Russell. The projects she's picked in the last like 3 or 4 years have been extremely impressive, and I just think she's great in everything that she does. In 2019, she was in an A24 movie called Waves, which is like the most fucking depressing shit of all time in the first hour, but then also kind of like gets a little happy, and it's got Lucas Hedges in it as well. And she's just like really powerful in that. Also, you have like the mid-level IP-ish horror franchise of The Escape Room, but I
Yeah.
stand by The Escape Room movie. So yeah, Tournament of Champions, shout out to that, and shout out to Escape Room. They're actually not bad. We might have to do an ep on them one time. But she's good in that. And then like Bones and All, one of my favorite performances of last year. That movie's so good. And at times, I think she's outshining Timmy on screen. So I think that's a testament for not being super well known and still kind of up and coming. Hasn't had a huge break. To be able to do that in a movie against a huge superstar like that is impressive for sure.
I like this pick a lot. This is, I would say, 100% an up and coming one. Obviously, I haven't seen Bones and All, unfortunately, but obviously one that you highly recommend. And if she's out dueling Timmy, this girl's got a massive future. I would say. I think I have seen her in Lost in Space. Have you seen the Netflix Lost in Space, Corbin?
If not, she's in 28 episodes of that.
Yeah,
So there you go. That's the
well,
thing. It's like
she's good in that too. I haven't seen the entire series of that, but it's definitely a fun take, kind of on 60s sci-fi kind of reboot, and she is good in that. But yeah, I haven't seen the the you call it a undercover up and coming horror franchise. I haven't seen that entire of those there.
escape rooms.
Yeah, those would be a fun, I think, cap episode, but I'll take your word for it. But yeah, from what I've seen of Taylor, I think she is, underrated as well. So good pick. What do you think she should start going into next? Because obviously I'm sure she has a lot of people reaching out to her to do a bunch of projects.
She's a person that like it seems very likely she's going to end up in like a Marvel movie at some
Yeah.
point or like a DC thing in the next 2 or 3 years. Like I'm waiting for the announcement. I don't necessarily want it to happen, but like it seems like it's going to. It makes sense, but maybe not. Who knows? I think if we are going to throw her into another franchise, let's stay in the horror lane. Let's get her in Scream 7, whatever they do with that.
Nice.
They always will bring in a new couple people, new young up and coming stars. Also, did you know that the guy who plays I don't even remember his name, who's the white kid with dreads from Avatar 2, what's his name?
Jack Champion, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but what's his character's name?
Oh, Spider.
Spider, yeah. Did you know Jack Champion's in Scream 6 as well as like an actual role?
Oh, really? I did not know that.
Yeah,
Does he have
he's
dreads or?
no, he has brown hair. It's crazy. I didn't even recognize him. Probably because they filmed Avatar like 10 years ago.
Yeah, I had no idea he was in that.
But
That is
no,
weird.
yeah. So like people like that are always popping up in Scream movies. Obviously, like Emma Roberts, who we just talked about in our last one, was in Scream 4. So let's get Taylor Russell into a Scream movie or maybe the Conjuring franchise. Again, if we're going IP, let's stick in the horror world. But no, recently she was also cast in this Korean thriller with Michael Fassbender and Alicia Vikander.
Ooh.
So I'm just excited for whatever becomes of that because that sounds really interesting.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. And I feel like that would be kind of a good niche spot to go to, kind of dramatic stuff and supporting roles right now, instead of maybe going to like a massive franchise in, DC or Marvel. So I like that direction too. Do you think an Oscar is in her future here?
I think on my list, I think she's the person who has the best chance of winning an acting Oscar. I'm going to be
Nice.
honest. I think she obviously is the youngest, I would say. So the most amount of time, but then also, I mean, just like I think Bones and All, I don't know if she wasn't so young and it wasn't, I think that movie, gets a little bit more popular. I mean, I think that's a performance that could have gotten across the line. I mean, fucking, what they nominated Andrea Riseborough. Like, I don't know. I think it could happen for sure.
Yeah, I think potential wise, like you said, time is a big factor, but yeah, I think she 100% on your list has probably the biggest potential to win an Oscar there. So yeah, good pick, I think, at number 2 there for you, bud.
Cody, it's time for number one. What do
Oh
you got
wow.
for us?
A lot of pressure leading into number 1. I'm going with an off-kilter pick. If you listen to this pod, you probably don't know what to expect from me, but I'm gonna go with Stellan Skarsgård, the
Mm.
boy. Again, probably no one would have ever thought he'd make it on my list, but I'll tell you what, this guy's been working for a ridiculously amount of time, and pretty much has no accolades to show for it, which I think is disrespectful. I think, and to go through his IMDb quick, I think the thing that kind of does push him back a little bit is he's kind of a franchise guy in a sense. I mean, of course, he's been in a bunch of MCU movies. He was in the Pirates franchise. He's in Dune as the main villain, pretty much.
The Cosmian offshoot. They're buddies.
True, true. Him and Dave are buddies too. Dave Batista and David DeCosmian.
Yeah.
Shout out to all the Daves. But I mean, that's a really good role for him. I think. I think in Dune 2, we will see a lot more of his character, which I'm very excited about. Of course, it's the whole weird like seal floating CGI thing. So I don't know how that's gonna work out. Uh, but anywho, past
Yeah.
that, my favorite role of his is Goodwill Hunting. which of course I feel like is expected here. But I think his performance in that film is kind of the definition of underrated too. I mean, you have, of course, Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Minnie Driver. You have a good cast, Casey Affleck. I mean, you got the Boston boys that you know. But Stellan Skarsgård really does a great job in this professor role, kind of starting off as the mentor to Matt Damon. Will Hunting, but of course, he pretty much just ditches him immediately because he's too smart for him. But just like that first act of Good Will Hunting, I think he really does carry the brunt of the story and the emotion a little bit too. So shout out that film. Yeah, in general, I think he's kind of just a really good character actor who maybe hasn't been given every single chance to kind of be the leading man. Like I said, Dune 2, I am excited for, but I'd like to see him being more of the guy in sort of these movies. And yeah, I don't know. What do you think about Stone in general, Corbino?
Yeah, I mean, you did mention the franchise thing, like obviously like Pirates, and he's been in Andor and
Held him back.
Thor, and yeah, so like it all over the place, right? But no, I think he is pretty solid. He's 71. I'm curious. Do you think is there an Oscar in his future, Cody? I don't know.
I think so. I think Stellan is going to age like fine wine in Hollywood. Maybe take a little Anthony Hopkins turn here and pull out a couple Oscars out of nowhere. I don't know. It's tough. It's obviously just kind of the roles that he's cast in. But I mean, if he sticks to like stuff in Dune, even if it is a little bit more franchisey but more prominent, and I think he is a good villain too. Like he has a dark side to him that I think he doesn't touch into too much. But he's been in so much crap. His IMDb goes on and on and on and on. So I think he'll keep continuing working probably for at least another 10 years. And I think he could pull an Oscar out. But I don't know. What do you think? I do want to ask you honestly too, because I think he's underrated, but I don't know if he's actually like this top tier actor.
I mean, yeah, it's hard to. I mean, again, with his age, like it's hard to say how many more film projects he's going to be in, like what kinds of roles he's going to be getting. The most recent thing he's appeared in was Andor, and I don't think he's won an Oscar for that TV performance. But he has gotten a Golden Globe for what he did in Chernobyl, as well as a primetime Emmy nomination for that work. So he's gotten a little bit of recognition. I would not bet on it.
I say book it. I say put $1 on him now.
Here's what I can say, Cody. Put
Find
a
a sports
dollar on the Skarsgård name, because
uh
maybe Alex or Bill will come in and
true.
get the Oscar for him.
I think Bill is probably the best actor of the bunch there. And yeah, just crazy commitment from all the Skarsgårds, I would say. You can put them in any sort of weird role where they have, they look like a seal or they're a crazy clown costume that takes 4 hours. And or just something in the Eternals, something like that too, with no makeup. But anyways, what I want to see Stellan do next, I had a couple different ideas. Obviously, go for more Oscar baity stuff. Give him maybe like a biopic with some Prime Minister of England or somebody I don't know anything about. Just some historical figure in the past who is interesting. Or another fun idea I had for him, which is more TV. Let him start maybe the next Game of Thrones series, maybe Jon Snow series. Have him paired up with Kit Harington. I think that'd be fun. But they're gonna do like a few spin-offs probably through there. So let him get into the Game of Thrones world. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think that does make a lot of sense. Like the knights and fantasy type thing, I think he could fit in well. When it comes to doing a real life person, like I don't know who's the most famous Swedish person we can think of, and let's stick him in that role. I guess I don't know.
Um,
The
Bjorn or something,
inventor
some
of
like tennis
the,
player or
the
something.
inventor of IKEA. That might be a little old.
That'd be dope. Like a the founder movie, a Michael Keaton McDonald's role, something like that, or a social network role, like some businessman from IKEA who has
I
like a
will
garden.
say I just looked up the IKEA founder, and he is just this old white guy. So we can make it happen.
You
Now
found your next role, Stellan.
I don't know if he was an old white guy when he founded IKEA, but he is now. He's old.
Just get the Swedish meatballs and that'll be a perfect movie. But yeah, Stellan at my number one. Maybe it's
Oh,
a
he
bit of a
died at
reach.
the age of 91 in 2018. Incredible.
Oh wow. Well, he's due for a biopic then too, so that's kind of perfect. Yeah, Stellan at my number one. Maybe a reach, but I think he's mad underrated. I think my top two are kind of just like people who don't get enough recognition in Hollywood, I think. And that's what I base my list off. So yeah, I roll with it. I am very excited to hear your number one, Corbin. Hit us with it. Who you got?
Yeah, this is where I really I had someone in my number one, and then I completely removed them from my list, and then
Wow.
yeah. So I don't know. This list could be made on any day, and it can really exist in any order, and it would probably be different. But I'll say my number one. I'm going David Cross. Shout out to David Cross of Chipmunks
Wow.
fame, the man himself. I just don't know if I'm ever happier to see someone appear in a movie. He brightens my day every time he appears. Obviously, he is the villain in the trilogy of Chipmunks movies with
Okay.
Jason Lee in the
I was gonna bring
cast.
it up. Yeah.
Yeah, obviously. But he's like a small role in Men in Black. He's in both one and two, I think, but like maybe a different character in both the movies. It's hard to say. Obviously, Arrested Development is the big one, right? Like, it's one of my favorite TV shows of all time. They've kind of ruined it with its like Netflix reboots, but he's incredible in the role of Tobias Funke. Obviously, just like humor, he is a stand-up comedian by trade originally, so like that's the realm he plays best in, and he's always funny. He's always great. I wouldn't say he maybe isn't actually underrated, but it's just because he is like a character supporting. Well, not even a character actor. He's just like a supporting actor who does a lot of the same thing most of the time. But no role is too small for David Cross, so he'll be in everything. He's kind of in that DeCalzmian lane.
I love this pick. This is very unexpected from you. I feel like he is a really, really funny comedian. He doesn't get enough just knowledge on that base either. I love him for some of his voice work too. Megamind, he's really
I
fun.
was gonna bring up, yeah. Also, shout out to the voice actor because that's an
Yeah,
underrated thing, and I think he's a person that takes that kind of stuff pretty seriously with like Kung Fu Panda and Megamind.
yeah, and his voice I think is one of the most unique in Hollywood too. So definitely they should play on that more. But yeah, I mean, shout out the Chipmunks movies. He's really good in those too. But he has a massive IMDb, sort of similar to David Dismalshin, but probably a little bit more comedy based. But I love this pick. Like I said, I did not expect that from you at all. But David Cross is one of the best, man. I definitely back it.
What I want to see him do, I think a cool lane would be a James Gunn DCEU show type thing,
Right.
similar to a John Cena. Put him in the lead in an HBO, or I guess a Max. Sorry, Max. A Max TV show. James Gunn executive produce. I don't know who we get to direct, but yeah, I think that'd be good. I don't know what role, but that's just my pitch.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Give him. I think they're doing the whole thing where they're doing like voice actors and like live action too. So you kind of do, because I think they cast like Alan Tudyk, who's a very well known like voice actor, kind of to go both ways. I think David Cross would be perfect, kind of in a similar role like that too. So yeah, I like that a lot. Do you think he has an Oscar down the line, Korbin?
I'm gonna say probably not. I just don't think so. Hey, he's gotten some Grammy nominations for his comedy work. He's gotten
Yeah,
some SAG nominations for like some early ensemble comedy stuff. You got an Emmy for writing on Ben Stiller show. So like, hey, maybe he'll write a screenplay and that he'll get like an Oscar nom for that later down the line. And I think that could also be a cool lane for him doing some more writing, directing. Obviously, he's done it in like the TV world, but I don't think really too much in the movie world.
yeah, I agree. I think it'd be a little bit tough for him just because I don't know if he'll be given the rightful opportunities. But yeah, writing, directing down the line, I could 100% see that, especially in TV as well. Like you said, he's been doing that for forever. So more Emmys on the way. I could see an Oscar down the line. I wouldn't be crazy surprised.
And I just want him to be in good movies too. Sometimes his projects are a little bit shit, and he's like the better part of them.
Mm.
So continue to be in great stuff, David Cross. Shout out
Is
to
it
you.
coming out in the Chipmunks reboot that's coming out in like 5, 10 years?
Hey, one can hope. Curious George, bring him back to do a voice.
I'm here for it.
All right, Kody. Who do you think on my list is the most underrated person?
It's a tough one. I mean, I would probably say it is Sung Kang Ho, just because, like, American wise, nobody knows who he is, but he's pretty respected in Hollywood. I don't know. It's a tough one. I think Donald Gleason, honestly, maybe my favorite out of your bunch. But again, I don't know if he's mad underrated. I'll stick with Sung Kang Ho. I think American wise, nobody knows who he is, and that's probably one of the best actors working today. So I like that pick a lot.
I think I might go Tony Revolori for you, Kody, just because I
Nice.
think I mean, yes, he's in Spider-Man, but outside of that, he's not in a ton of stuff. I think maybe younger people know who he is, and he's also got the best chance of doing something, I think, more in the future because he is so young.
Shout out Tony, like I'm saying, I'm sliding in his DMs after this pod, so he'll be on soon. But
Just
yes,
send him this clip.
snip this and send it to him. But yeah, shout out Tony. I like that.
Honorable mentions, Kody. Who do you got?
Yeah, I got a few. I don't know if I have as many as your extensive list, it sounds like. But just to run through a couple, Sam Rockwell, I really wanted to include on, but hasn't done a ton since Moon or anything like that, but definitely a great actor. Lena Headey, which I had recast in a couple episodes ago of Cap. Yeah, really great actress. Game of Thrones, obviously Cersei, she's incredible, and just hasn't done as many movies since. Obviously, Dread, yeah, Lena Headey in Dread is really good as Mama as well, paired up with Carl Urban. Really fun movie as well. Past that, some more comedy guys: Michael Pena, Jason Segel. Michael Pena, he has the ability to go into more action stuff too, so I think he was really versatile. But we've talked about him a bunch on the pod too. I know
My
he's one of your favorites.
Michael Pena was very close to making the list. You know, he's a Scientologist, so maybe that pushed him off a little bit. But I mean, I love End of Watch. I love his performance in that. I think that yes, he's extremely funny. He's like the best part of the Ant-Man movies, but
Yeah,
also like he has the ability to flip into a serious type of area, which I think is really good.
yeah, he's
He's
really
in
good.
Che, Steven Soderbergh's Che, where he played like the lead role. I mean, he can do serious.
Yeah, no, he's good all around. He's just really good in supporting roles. I feel like too. The Martian, he's really funny. That first Ant-Man movie he carries on his shoulders. Yeah, had to include Jason Segel, like I said, another comedy guy. The Muppets, of course. Forgetting Sarah Marshall is a very underrated rom-com as well. Probably one of my favorites. Post 2000s rom-coms that nobody I feel like gives too much respect for. But yeah, he's really great. My last one was kind of a shout out to you. Emma Mackey. I feel like everything I've really seen her in, she's been really, really good as well. But this list could go on and on and on. But those are my top five who I was seriously considering.
Yeah, those are all great picks. Pena was definitely up there for me. Spike Jones is an actor, underrated, always great and fun,
Love
just
that
weird
movie.
roles. He's in
Moneyball.
Babylon and of course Moneyball most recently, and Wolf of Wall Street as well as
Yeah.
the guy at the who teaches him how to sell penny stocks. So yeah, always fun. I think Tom Hardy is maybe 6 or 7 on the list, but it's hard to say underrated. I think
Yeah.
right. He's got an Oscar nom for The Revenant, and he just loves Venom too much, so he could never make the list. But like I don't know, Tom Hardy, people sometimes don't give him the love he deserves. He should have an Oscar at this point. What do you think?
I don't know. I think he's pretty respected.
For sure, for sure. John Cho of Harold and Kumar fame. I feel like he's just a serious that guy for a lot of people. He's in a ton of different stuff. Shout out Star Trek for you, Kody.
True.
Chiwetel Ejiofor, he has obviously an Academy Award nomination, Emmy noms, and some SAG noms, and 5 Golden Globes. So like he's gotten the love, but again, he's a person that like I feel like a lot of people don't know. He got kind of written out of the Doctor Strange shit, which sucked in a stupid way. He's
Yeah.
great in Children of Men and of course 12 Years a Slave. Anna Kendrick, I think underrated as a serious actress. Pitch
Yeah.
Perfect, she's good in, but also like Alice Darling was an interesting movie this past year where she's really great. Stanley Tucci, he's always working. He's doing fantastic, but he is Oscar nominated. Paul Giamatti and Michael Shannon, a couple of character actor guys. Maybe not the same, but also both great. Giamatti's going to be appearing in a movie this year that I could maybe Oscar nom coming. Kody, what do you think?
Is it a Rhino spinoff or?
No, I can't remember what is it called.
I am the Rhino.
The Holdovers, directed by Alexander Payne. Where yeah, I don't know. It Focus Features movie coming out in November. Giamatti in the lead role. We'll see. He might be cooking, Cody.
It's not interesting. I like Polly Boy. I think Shannon as well is mad underrated. So I like both those little pairing.
And then Allison Williams, who obviously is in Get Out and Megan, but I just feel like hasn't worked a ton of stuff. But I think in horror movies, especially, like she's fantastic. She was great in Megan. John Turturro, I to a younger generation underrated, but it's crazy when you look at his IMDb. Kody, I was watching Raging Bull last Wednesday, and he appears in one shot as like an uncredited dude just sitting at a table. And I was like, is that fucking John Turturro?
Oh, really?
And yeah, he's just in Raging Bull. And then, of course, he goes on and he's in some other Scorsese movies, Color Money, Do the Right Thing. He was in the Batman. Like that dude's filmography is crazy impressive. I mean, just even being a background player in a movie like Raging Bull that far. But like to a younger generation, I would say he is underrated for sure.
True.
But he is
Transformers
a
too.
goat. Yeah, Transformers. It's a classic. Michelle Yeoh, Colin Farrell, maybe like 400 days ago, you could say underrated. And then, yeah, of course, Dave Bautista. Got to shout him out as the last one, Kody. Knock
Yeah.
at the Cabin. Good movie.
True. Dave Bautista actually is like, if we didn't talk about him so much, he would probably like make my 5 or 4 on this list, but you know, he's definitely overrated on this podcast. So I couldn't include him. But yeah, a lot of great picks there.
Speaking of Dave, 6 degrees of Dave, Kody.
You're an imbecile.
You're gonna connect your number one, Stellan Skarsgård, to Dave Bautista, and I'll connect David Cross to Dave Bautista.
Yeah, David Cross might be a little bit more tough. I kind of copped out this week on 6 degrees of Dave. I mean, Stellan Skarsgård obviously is
in Dune.
Yes. So I just made a straight connection. If they didn't like share scenes or anything, maybe I would have been like, oh, Matt Damon with Good Will Hunting, blah blah blah. But no, I'm going Stellan Skarsgård, Dune. You know, it's also Dune Corbin, Dave freaking Bautista. There's my 6 degrees this week.
Nice. That's quicker than mine, Kody. David Cross, a movie he's in that we hadn't mentioned, Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind.
Yeah.
Another just a supporting performance. I
How
think
could you not? How could you not go the Chipmunks route, dude? Unbelievable.
I'm sorry. But he's in Eternal Sunshine with Kate Winslet,
Yeah.
who is in Contagion, a little Soderbergh action again. Shout out to him with Matt Damon. And Matt Damon, of course, is in Thor: Love and Thunder with Dave Bautista. Not in any scenes together, but they are both technically in the movie. Damon, of course, reprising his cameo role from Ragnarok, and Dave Bautista in his little Guardians prelude at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, true. Thor: Love and Thunder. God, that movie sucks. But yeah, Matt Damon's in it again for some reason. But yeah, nice little 6 degrees there. I like it.
Thank you. Recommendations, Kody.
I drink your milkshake. I drink it up.
What do you got for the people? What have you been into?
I don't have too much. I've been kind of slacking movie wise this past week. Only a couple big things to rec. I have been binging Psych pretty religiously here the last few days. Worked my way through season 1. I believe I'm either on the second to last episode or the season finale of season 2. So really been grinding on that. Would definitely recommend checking that out. How many seasons of Psych are there, Corbin? Do we know? Like 4
7
or 5?
or 8?
7? Oh wow. I'll be going through that for a little bit too. But,
I think the last season's only 10 episodes, but yeah.
Okay. Oh, cool. But definitely check that out. I think the early seasons are a lot of fun too. They're kind of figuring out where they want to go with all the characters as well, and especially on a rewatch of the entire series as well. I think it's a lot of fun. Past that, the only other thing I checked out this week was, of course, Alibis, New Prairie High School production. I believe today, well, the day of recording, they did have their final show, so I can't recommend you go see it, unfortunately. But yeah, those are my 2 big things. Shout out, of course, yours again, but I'll throw it over to you. I'm sure you got a lot more recs than me this week.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of things. I did mention watching Raging Bull. I got to see that in theaters, a 4K restoration of it, which was pretty nice. Good movie about a bad person. That's what I'll say. I also saw Beau is Afraid, the new Ari Aster movie. Obviously, we've talked about Midsommar on the pod in the past. Weird movie, Kody. It's 3 hours and you can feel every hour of it. There is like multiple like different segments. It's kind of episodic in a certain nature, but it's not necessarily broken up in any terms of editing, but there's different places, locations that he travels to. It is very much like an Odyssey type movie. There's some really cool locations and moments throughout. The ending is fucking wacky. It's I don't know. It's a lot. I wouldn't say I loved it, but it is a huge swing and there's a lot to unpack. And I don't want to give out too many spoilers, but yeah, there's a lot.
Sounds like madness, really.
It is like everything that you could possibly imagine a 3-hour long Ari Aster, Joaquin Phoenix mother movie about anxiety would be.
Interesting. I'm excited. I will probably see it because it sounds insanely weird, but yeah, I don't think you were like the biggest fan of it, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know if I would ever watch it again. That's the thing. Right. It's a hard rewatch one, but I am impressed with what was done. It as a project, it's incredibly impressive. It's also not. It really wasn't made for that much money, which is also kind of cool. But yeah, I don't know. Good movie, I guess. And then I also checked out a movie that I really liked, Humboldt County, which is an early shout out to Succession, Kendall Roy, what the fuck is his name? Jeremy Strong, early Jeremy Strong performance.
Nice.
It's just really interesting. It's got Peter Bogdanovich playing his dad, and Jeremy Strong is like finishing med school, and his dad is his teacher, and he like doesn't pass him. So then he like meets this girl and spends the night with her, and then she drives up to the Pacific Northwest to like Washington or Oregon, where she like lives kind of with this like pseudo fake like formed family of pot smokers who like grow weed and sell it. And I don't know, it's just really weird. And he's just kind of like doesn't know what to do with his life. But then the girl just like leaves. So then he's just like stuck there with these people. And Chris Messina is there. And I don't know, a lot of people, I don't know, it's just a really interesting movie. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really powerful. It touched on a lot of interesting subjects. It's very much like a moment in time and a particular, it's just like a few days. And there's a really good child performance as well. And yeah, I don't know, go check it out.
Wow. Surprised you're saying there's a good child performance. I don't know if I've ever heard you say that, but
nice. And then John Wick Chapter 3 I finally watched, and yeah, it's good. It's a good one. Dogs are sick. Yeah.
Horses,
motorcycle knives, Boban, katana? Like you said. It's a classic.
Yeah, it's fun.
Still got to go check out John Wick 4 though.
Definitely on the docket.
Well, this has been the first episode of May Mania. We thank you guys for listening, and hit us up to come on.
Yep. Stay around for a lot more fun stuff this month. Stay tuned, but yeah, appreciate it.
Peace.
It's like happening.
What you've just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.